Hey guys, welcome to line check number 8. So I'm super thrilled on this episode because I've never done anything like this. This is the first line check that I actually did in person with the artist instead of a remote shoot over the internet like I usually do. I want to leave a huge thank you to Toby Bay for helping me make this possible. Toby is the camera guy, graphics / photographer guy, who sort of multimedia guy who helped me make this possible. And you can find links to his work in the description below. If you are in the Southern Ontario area, if you're in the Toronto area, the Hamilton area, I strongly suggest you hit him up, maybe get some work done. He's awesome. He does music videos, he does photo shoots, he does all kinds of multimedia stuff for bands. So definitely take a look at his work. I'll include all of his links in the description below. So thank you again, Toby, for helping me make this possible. I also, of course, want to extend a huge thank you to Secrets for actually meeting up with me and letting me borrow their drummer for the better part of an hour while we shot this before their set. So thank you, Secrets. And this episode, of course, as I just mentioned, is with the drummer from the metalcore band Secrets. The drummer's name is Connor Allen, and he's a good friend of mine, and I'm so excited to get into the episode. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Connor Allen. Okay, so first off, thank you so much for agreeing to do this today, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure to be on your series on your YouTube channel. I've actually been watching your channel for a little bit now, all the covers and stuff, so it's really cool to actually be here in Canada filming a video like this. So.
Yeah, this is obviously a first for me, obviously a first for the channel, and I'm super stoked on this setup, the way everything's worked out. Thank you for agreeing to do this. So take me through what this tour's been like, what it's looked like, how some highs and lows, how far in you are, all that stuff.
For sure. This tour is the Fragile Figures anniversary tour, so we're playing the deluxe edition of Fragile Figures, like front to back. It's been super fun. A lot of people really connected to this album, so all the shows have been super fun, lots of energy, super fun fans and everything like that. It started in California and then worked our way over to Texas, Florida, and then towards up the East Coast. So as now today we're in Toronto. So Toronto and Ottawa are our Canada dates, and then we're back into the US playing some more East Coast stuff, and then working our way all the way back to Colorado, and then finishing again in California. So yeah, there's been just a ton of crowd surfing, ton of mosh pits, fun stuff. So we don't even have to really create our own energy on stage because we're just feeding off of everyone at these shows. It's been a blast.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly what you want. All right, so did you guys have any issues at the border? Because I know that Canadian crossing is notorious among bands.
It was a little scary. I mean, we always have everything really ready as far as having all the papers and everything that we need, and then passports. The guy today we passed through, he was just super laid back. He just asked us a couple things, and then he let us right through. So it's a relief to not have to get out of the van, have any stuff of yours searched and all that stuff. So we just went right through, and hopefully on the way back in, we'll go right back through to the U.S.
So what does preparation for the border look like? What kind of papers do you get together? What do you make sure is in order?
For certain places, I'm not sure if we had to do it this time, but you'll have to have invitations, I think, from the venues for the shows. For this, I believe we just had a couple papers just showing contracts showing that we're playing these shows. Basically, we're just here for that, and then we're on our way out. So as long as you have those papers, your passports, all that stuff, they'll just ask you a couple things about what's in the trailer, all that, and then hopefully, if that all goes smooth, they'll just let you right through.
Right on, man. So. Looking back past this tour, you guys have been busy. You guys have been busy overseas. Before this North American run, what kind of shows were you playing?
So for my first time ever touring overseas, we toured Australia and Japan back to back. So it was super crazy experience. In Australia, we basically played all the way up that coast there. So we played Adelaide, Brisbane, Melbourne. We also hit Canberra and Newcastle. So there's a lot of shows. We also got to stop by the Koala Sanctuary at the end. So, we got to do the thing I've always seen bands do from when I was growing up, holding the koala, petting the kangaroo. It was dream come true right there, big time.
Yeah, I saw on your socials, you guys were all taking pics with the koalas.
The koala pic was a big moment of wow, I'm here touring and I'm holding a koala, and it was amazing. Yeah, crazy experience.
That's so strange, right? Every band, that they're in Australia just because you'll just see tons of it all over the feed.
Every single band member hey, held a koala today. It was super fun. Yeah. We also at the end of that filmed a music video for The End off of the newest Secrets album. So that was really cool. It was the first Secrets music video I was actually in. So it was a super cool experience with Colin Jeffs out there shooting the music video.
Sick, man. That's sweet. So outside of Australia, where else you been?
Right after Australia, the way that the tours were booked, it was kind of unsure if we were going to go to Japan or not. And then once we had the flights booked for Australia, Japan got confirmed. So we actually had to fly back from Australia. We were home for less than 24 hours, and then the next morning flew out to Japan right after that. So it was a bit of a crazy travel situation there. But yeah, Japan was insane as well. We played all the main places in Tokyo, Nagoya, I think, Shibuya, Sendai, Yokohama, I believe. And then we also, for like sightseeing stuff, we went to Kyoto, and there's this big hill, like mountain you can hike up, and then up there's just a bunch of these wild monkeys, I believe. I'm not sure if they're monkeys or baboons, I forget. But they're just wild, and they get really close to you, and like it's a little scary because one of those monkeys could for sure probably kill someone pretty easily.
Do you have like some footage of the monkeys?
Yeah, there's a little bit. We were filming up there. It's a huge view of this like humongous overlook over Kyoto. So it's a crazy view, and on top of that, there's just all these monkeys running around, just being monkeys. So.
Right on, man. Hell yeah. All right, so international dates, crossing seas, going to Japan, going to Australia. What's that look like on the side of like logistics for Backline? Like, how do you get your gear over? Do you rent? How does that work?
It was good for Australia because our friends in Awaken I Am, they're from Australia. They're actually on this U.S. portion of the tour as well. They're unfortunately not here in Canada for this portion, these couple shows, but they're on the rest of the U.S. tour. When we were in Australia, they helped us out with gear, things that we needed, like drum kit. I basically just brought pedals, and I forget if I was able to bring anything else. I think it was just pedals and sticks. So every day it was basically like playing different kits. It was a little hard to get used to. I was playing the same cymbals from Awaken I Am. So yeah, that's what we did for gear pretty much, is they helped us out there. And then when they're over here now, we help them out. He's playing my kit and just has his own snare cymbals. So in Japan, though, we were using just how it was set up, and I wasn't sure about like backline, what's it called, budgeting for like a backline and stuff like that. So we were just basically using house kits. I had my own pedals and sticks there as well, and cymbals too, which was a big help. So every day there, it was just adjusting, hoping the house kit was good, kind of. So it was a little risky as far as that goes. There's a couple kits where there was hardware that was kind of falling over on me a little bit. I had a rack tom fall off of the kit mid-set one night. So the sound guy comes running up and like has to reattach it while I'm playing and stuff like that. So there's a couple iffy things there. But I mean, for the experience to go to Japan, you're not always able to get perfect backline and all that stuff. So that's how that worked out.
And then how do you guys handle transportation?
Transportation in Australia, we were sharing van with Awaken I Am. So they were doing all the driving because they're obviously on the other side of the road. So they were driving us around there. And then in Japan, our good buddy Tatsu, he was also the promoter for that whole tour. He was driving us there as well. So we had him, a couple of camera people, and then just us in this van. It was a pretty comfortable setup, so they drove us around there as well. Super fortunate for that, because if we attempted to drive in either of those places, we probably wouldn't have made it out.
Did you at all attempt to drive, or was that like no?
No,
sure?
Yeah, no driving for any of us. I mean, worst case, like in Australia, we probably could have, but I mean, adjusting while you're on the road like that would be pretty risky. Just driving on the other side of the car, other side of the road, like it'd be pretty dangerous.
Yeah, I have like a couple of friends even here in Toronto that like they've definitely had some issues adjusting for sure. It's like so ingrained in us, right? And then like you turn left or something, or make a right turn, and you're just in the wrong side of the road.
You could end up on the wrong side of the road real fast.
Right?
And that would be not good.
Cool, man. Okay, so next, take me through where you're from, man. Like hometown. Like what was it like? What did your early life look like leading up to music?
I was born in Sacramento. I was only there until I was about 1 or 2 years old, and I moved to Southern California, and I lived there all the way up until I was about 20. Pretty much started playing drums when I was in 5th or 6th grade. I went to my cousin's house in Sacramento, and he's always played marching snare, and he had a drum kit at one point. No like name brand or anything, just like kind of a small kit. It wasn't like Toys R Us or anything, but like that middle step. So he had that, and he sat me down at it and was like, here, let's see if I'll try and teach you a couple things. So he taught me like the first 3, like basic rock beats, like AC/DC type beats that you can learn when you first sit out a kit. And I picked it up really fast, and he was like, dang, like you picked it up quick, like, and I loved doing it. So I went back down to SoCal for a while, and then my cousin went fully into marching. So at that point, that kit got passed down to me, and it was in my garage for a long time, and I just beat the hell out of it until it sounded absolutely terrible, and it was basically broken. And then my parents were like, I guess he's not going to stop playing drums. So I was fortunate enough that they, for Christmas one year, got me a electronic drum kit because they were like, oh, well, we don't want him banging on the loud drums all the time. So if you can plug headphones in and do it, then by all means, that's the best way to go. So I had the electronic kit for a lot of years. And funny story about how I kind of got my first acoustic drum kit is they had a full warranty on the electronic kit. I ended up breaking a snare pad after a while. And they sent it back to them, and there was just some confusion or something happened, and basically Roland sent a check to replace the piece, but it was a check to basically replace the entire drum kit at that point. So I wasn't sure if it was a mistake still to this day or if they did it on purpose, but they sent a check to replace the entire electronic kit, which is like a pretty good amount of money. So my parents were like, at this point, I guess what we could do with this is just buy you an acoustic kit, basically getting it for free because of this electronic kit deal. So
yeah, that's incredible. Oh my God.
So we went to the Guitar Center, and at the time I didn't know really anything about drum kits, and fortunately enough, the funny thing about getting my drum kit is that my parents kind of picked it because it matched like some of the furniture in the house, which fortunate enough for me, that was a DW kit. So I got a DW kit and like a beginner set of like Paiste cymbals, like a pack of 3. And that was like my first real drum kit like that. And then over time, I just kind of leveled up on like cymbals and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy. You got your first kit for free. Well,
yeah,
kind of, because there was the cost of the electric.
Cost of the electric kit, and then out of that came a full like DW drum kit that I still am playing to this day. So
was there like an age that did you take lessons?
Yeah, so when I had that electronic kit is when I started taking. I took formal lessons for a certain amount of time. It was only for maybe, I want to say, a year at the most. It took some formal lessons. He basically started teaching me he kind of taught me reading beats off of sheet music, and then once I had beats down at that point, he started teaching me how to kind of learn songs just kind of by ear and off of what I already knew. So using that kind of knowledge to this day, I'm still using learning by ear for songs. Like if I need to learn a set, I'm just going on Spotify or going to wherever the song is, just listening over and over and over. And so he kind of taught me that, which is like the most useful skill I think I've ever gotten taught. He started teaching me rudiments, but at the time I didn't really understand the use of them. So that kind of was just kind of in one ear out the other for the time being.
Yeah, that seems to be the case a lot of the time, right?
Yeah, when you first start, you're like, what am I going to use this for? And then later you find it again, and you're like, oh my goodness, this is so much you can do with it.
Yeah, you like unlock the power behind it.
Yeah.
Like you realize, oh wait, like I could move this even like one arm to a different element, like
exactly,
around the kit.
yeah.
It just
that's a big thing I'm still always practicing to this day, is just taking rudiments and just throwing them all over the place. So that was one of the biggest things too after learning rudiment stuff.
So did you follow your cousin into drumline at all? Did you get involved with anything like that?
I never did marching. I did in high school. I did high school jazz band, so that helped me a lot with dynamics and different feels and stuff like that. I was just kind of getting into that. I started playing for church band, which is another good one for dynamics and like feel and like building up louder certain parts of the song, all that kind of stuff. Really good. Always recommend playing in church for like any newer drummer or anything like that. Church is great for that.
The more guys I talk to, that I hear that everywhere.
Church drums are the best. So that was a good start for that. So yeah, I never actually did marching drums. It was just the jazz band. And then at that point, I started doing practice pad exercises, which was a lot of drumline stuff. So I was just blasting out singles, like getting more technique type of stuff. I was starting to do doubles, starting to do paradiddle diddles, all that type of stuff. And that's what I did a lot in high school, is just sit on a practice pad. A couple of my teachers were okay with it. A couple of them definitely weren't. Yeah. So I would have the practice pad at my desk and just be like jamming out rudiments. So.
That's so funny. I was the same way. When I was in high school, I would bring my pad to like all my classes.
Yeah,
like I would go. Yeah. I would go to like my like gym class or like fitness if we were in the weight room, and they'd be like, "Where's Wyatt at?" He's in the corner, just like.
In the corner, he's working out, but he's working out the hand muscles.
I'm focusing on grip strength and forearm strength today. Sorry.
So yeah, the practice pad at high school was a big part of just developing like my playing, was just practice pad in high school. So more of that even than kit playing sometimes, is because I just wouldn't have time to play the kit in high school. I'd just be sitting in class, always playing the practice pad. So that was a big portion of my practicing.
So were you involved with like a high school band?
After it came
outside of jazz band, like
it actually came to it came about through jazz band. Is the guitarist and bassist of the jazz band. They met me and they came up to me because I had like a Mice and Men shirt on, and they were like, "Oh, dude, like you're in jazz, you like this type of music too." They were into August Burns Red, all this type of stuff. So they came up to me and they're like, "Hey, like we're trying to get this little band started together, like outside of this thing." So that's when I started that was like the first band I ever joined. Is a pop punk band called Shipwrecks. It actually I don't want to say took off, but we had a good like local following. We played some really solid, we played good house shows, which was some of my fondest memories of playing. Is we would have this full sound setup in a living room. Basically, we'd clear out all the furniture. We had a friend who did Warped Tour sound, so he came and he had drum mics. He had like PA set up, like a full sound setup in this house. It was basically a venue. So we played a couple of those house shows, just fully packed this house and just crazy crowd surfing, mosh pits, like the whole shebang in this little living room. So
I remember when the first time I had like my first experience of putting. I think the first time I ever mic'd my kick drum was with like a Beta, like 52A, right? And I remember hearing it through like a venue sub for the first time, and it changed the whole outlook on life. Was it like that for you in that house?
Sort of, yeah. We had played previously to that. We played, my local venue was Chain Reaction in Anaheim. It's kind of a more popular venue. We just played there, and that was one of my favorite shows is just playing Chain Reaction. So I already kind of knew, like, first time hitting the kick with a mic in it and hearing it come through the venue is definitely like life-changing. You're like, oh, I have so much power that I've never felt before. You're like, it's so loud. So that was a cool part of that band, is playing all those local shows, and that really gave me a lot of good practice for playing live and just the experience of playing shows like that.
And this was all in Sacramento?
This was all in Southern California, like near Anaheim area.
Okay.
That's where the house shows were and everything like that.
Okay, true.
Same little area. We never ended up touring or anything with that band.
No. When so coming out of high school, like when was your first experience with like a road ready band?
My first experience like doing road stuff was actually I think my junior or senior year of high school. I joined this band called Between California and Summer, and at that time it was still a pretty new band, and we decided like, hey, we're gonna try doing like our first tour after playing a good amount locally. We opened for This Wildlife and like Chase Coy and a couple of other like random ones like that. The Downtown Fiction we opened for at Chain Reaction. Those are some of my favorite shows as well. And after we did all that, we're like, all right, well, we might as well try doing like a tour, get the experience in, try and get our names out there a little bit. So we had a friend who had a van and trailer set up, and we had it all booked from California down towards Texas, and then we played like maybe 4 Texas shows, and then we made our way back. It was like about 10-day run.
And this was all just DIY, just you guys?
All super DIY, super small shows. Like it was. We were really in no place to be doing a tour, but a couple of the shows, it's fun. It's a good experience. The experience doing like the DIY, like going to a Walmart to take your baby wipe showers and your sink showers. That was a good experience to have.
It's
like
always
just bumming
Walmart.
it in the van.
It's always Walmart.
Pocket,
Yeah.
24 hours. You go in the bathroom. Sometimes there's a McDonald's in there.
Yeah.
It's the best spot. The best spot.
I knew one dude who he'd always reminiscent about like buying the air mattress at Walmart, sleeping in the parking lot, returning the air mattress, next venue.
Damn, that's a good idea.
Yeah, right?
That's a pro tip for their touring.
Super resourceful.
Buy the air mattress, return it the next day, free bed.
Yeah, what's crazy too is like they're $7. Don't be so cheap, you know?
Yeah, you might as well just keep it. Never mind. Just ignore that pro tip.
The next night, bro. Like,
brand new one every single night.
Yeah.
Luxury.
Yeah, exactly, right? That's where you're living the high life on the road.
Exactly. Yeah, that little tour was definitely a great experience. One of the best shows on it. We actually played a lunchtime at a high school, like in their like auditorium area. And so that was like the biggest show we ever played.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I had the same sort of experiences. Like some of my earliest bigger sets were like high school cafeterias and stuff. Like I went on the road with this one girl who was trying to be like a pop act, and we were in the backing band for her. And those are some of my biggest shows early on. Was just like getting to play assemblies.
Exactly,
it was like crazy.
The kids at lunchtime, they're like, we're standing around doing nothing, but there's a band playing.
Yeah.
We're going to go see. Like they're not doing anything else.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that was really fun. People thought we were a lot more popular than we were too, which was really cool. They thought we were some big time Rush. We were like pop, like rock, kind of like rock band. So that was the kind of thing. They just thought we were super famous. So that was a good experience for us. Kind of a like jump in morale of that tour was being like, oh dang, like these kids think we're so cool. So that was a good touring experience, that whole thing.
All right, so first of all, what age were you? Was this after high school or was this like late high school that you were doing these DIY runs?
This DIY run was, I believe, my junior or senior year of high school. It was during a spring break. It happened so I just had to take a couple extra days off of school, and then the rest of it was during spring break. So it kind of lined up nicely like that.
True, and then when you were doing these DIY tours, or I mean, even with that band or bands directly following that, like what was your worst experience on the road? Like something that you thought you would like never come back from?
There was a couple shows just on that tour just because we were so new, and some of the shows that were just, we would show up. One of the ones specifically I always remember is, I think it was in Arizona or maybe New Mexico. We played and we were in this mall that was like pretty close to the venue, and we were like passing out flyers type of thing. We're like, come check out the show tonight. We were like pretty hyped for it. And then we played to the opening band and the sound guy. And that was it. Nobody else. And so that was kind of a moment of just like, dang, this is brutal. Like nobody is here. Like it's just a brutal moment, you know?
Yeah.
So you just have to try and you just play the show, like play your best to just take it as a learning experience. Like it's never good to play a show, you know, in that down, like, oh, this is terrible. Cause you know, you're still on tour, you're still playing music. So it's just the experience of going there and the only people watching are the band that played right before you and the sound guys just sitting back there. There's nobody else. So that's definitely a low point, but it's good to have those moments because you know, it only goes up from there. You're only going to have more than 5 people at the show. So yeah.
That's so true. That's actually a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
Like if you played that show, you're only going to have more than that in the future.
Exactly. Yeah. You got to think of it as a low point that you're going to come back from. Because if you just let it get you down, then you aren't going to do any better than that. You just have to, you know, play more shows, play to get your band name out there a little more. The next time you play, there'll be more people there.
So on the contrast to that, what was like before joining Secrets, what was like just in like your early tour experience, was there like a moment that this is too surreal that you couldn't even believe it, that you felt like, you know, the world was just coming together kind of thing?
Opening for This Wildlife was a big show for me. Like I saw it and played like too many big shows like that, and we played pretty close to This Wildlife set. So we had and they sold it out like before the show night even happened. So that night we got on stage and it was like a packed venue, and we're like, oh shoot, like this is a lot of people here. Like this is gonna be a fun show. That along with the house shows actually, because those were just all like people that knew us, our fans, like people, stuff like that. So that's a big moment of like all these people are screaming our words, and like we're in a house and people are crowd surfing and like crazy stuff during our show. So that's a big moment of like, this is so much fun. Like I love doing this more than anything.
Were those house shows like a lot of like friends from like the high school kind of thing?
Yeah,
like
we
really
put up,
local.
We would put up flyers at high school, but there were also fans that would they would find us through like Spotify and stuff like that. There was a couple here and there. They would drive a couple hours to come see like our local shows. So we had like a more local, all local like fan base. But there's a few shows, you know, where there's a bunch of people there. They knew our words and stuff. Those are good moments to have when you see people that really love your music and stuff that you've created.
Yeah. Was there with that project or those early ones, like, did you guys? When was your first like experience in the studio with any of like how did you string together? Did you string together any releases or music videos, anything like that?
I think my first time ever in the studio was with that band Shipwrecks. We tracked a EP. I believe it was like 6 or 7 songs. I had never done it before. I wasn't that good at tuning my kit yet, so I didn't have the best drum sound. So there's probably a good amount of sampling and stuff like that in there. As well as just, you know, some sloppier playing in my earlier days. So that was my first experience like that. And then my first like bigger one, I guess, was with Between California and Summer. We tracked a 4-song EP, I believe. And I think, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that EP was tracked with the snare that was on a Paramore record or something like that.
Oh.
The guy in the studio just happened to have it.
Oh, right
so
on.
that was a big thing. I was like, I'm playing the snare that was on this record, and like, so that was a cool moment. Like some studios just have really cool stuff like that, where this thing was on this record and stuff. So it kind of gets you in the vibe of like, dang, I got to play good right now. I got to record some good drums, live up to that. So.
Yeah, like this snare is heard by thousands of people every day on Spotify or whatever.
Yeah,
I better bring it today.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my first experience kind of recording, is with those 2 bands, and then also starting to do drum cover stuff as well. That was kind of it's kind of similar to recording, a little bit different, obviously, but that's some other recording stuff I've done, is just the covers.
Okay, yeah, so that's a really great segue. Like, take me from there. So you, after these bands, you started with the drum cover stuff, and that eventually led you to getting a spot in Secrets, right? So take me through that era.
Basically, yeah. So I started filming some covers. One of my friends does like studio work, stuff like that. my buddy John Royer, if you're watching this. Super cool guy, super good like sound work and all that. So I started doing some drum covers just in his little studio room, carpet background. I'm not sure if they're still up on my YouTube channel because I was kind of embarrassed of them at this point because of my playing. But I did some covers with him just in that room, and then I started bringing in camera, light production stuff that my sister does. She's super good at that, all the camera work. So all my nicer videos from that point on, I just was like, damn, all this camera stuff is super fun, super cool to have. Like, it makes the video look so official. So at that point, I started pumping out more covers. And then when Secret's original drummer left, they had a newer song that came out called Waste Away. So I was like, oh shoot, like this could be, I've always heard of people like joining bands from doing covers. Obviously Luke Holland, Josh Manuel, big ones, like start on YouTube, have a cover of the band, and then all of a sudden you're on tour with them. So I was like, this could be the one. So I covered Waste Away. I also covered Beartooth when their original drummer left, in an attempt to do that. So I was hopeful for a couple of those. But yeah, after a couple of years, they saw the cover at that time, but there was just a couple of other options. There was a closer friend. His name was Tyree. He's a super good drummer. He played with them for a couple of years. And then it just happened to loop back around. They needed a drummer, and there was a tour coming up real close. And then one of my friends, Brooke, she's actually on this tour with us right now. She like put my name in and was like, hey, this guy has these drum covers. He's like ready to tour and all that. And then I tried out with the guitarist Connor. His name's also Connor, which is super fun. So I tried out with him, and then had a couple full band rehearsals. And then my first show was we opened for As They Lay Dying in San Diego for their like comeback with the new the old vocalist rather.
Damn, dude, that must have been massive.
Yeah, it was a good show to start it all off on. It was just like we're having 2 full band rehearsals, and then we're playing this big show and then going on this tour, the headline tour of the U.S. So that's basically how that all came about.
So was that show sold out?
Yeah, that show, actually, I was trying to get a couple tickets for myself and some friends, or not for myself, but yeah, for some friends that wanted to come. And it sold out within like 5 minutes of the site going up, of the tickets going live. And so I was on the site trying to get tickets, and the site crashes. And then when I go back, it's like show sold out. So I was equally like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a crazy show, as much as I was like, I couldn't even get tickets for my couple of friends. So
yeah, did that fact alone start like the nerves? Like, did that like...
Sort of, yeah. I mean, I don't really get too nervous about playing. It was more just nervous about, this is my first like bigger show, and this is my first like show with this band. So if I mess up here, then this could be like a red flag and be like, oh, he can't play live and stuff like that. So that was kind of the only nerves I had, was kind of living up to like the auditions and all that stuff that I did. So I just had to make sure and play the best that I could.
So immediately following that show, was that like the first date in a tour, or was it just like a solo show?
That was like a one-off show, and then directly after that, like within the same week as the headline tour started, it was a headline tour of the self-titled like newest record. So we were playing, I believe, almost every song off of that. It wasn't quite front to back, but that was a tour of the U.S.
And then after the U.S. tour, that's when you eventually got into like the Australia and the Japanese dates that we talked about, right?
Right after that tour, that we did another one. It was My Children, My Bride, 10-year anniversary of an album. It was us, Capture, Earthgroans, Half-Hearted, and so that was a fun tour as well. That was a U.S. and 3 Canada shows.
Okay, yeah. Right on.
That was in between that and the Australia and Japan runs that we did.
All right, man. So so let's go on stage, and we're gonna head up on stage, and Connor's gonna take us through what he's got out on the road on this tour. So we'll see you over there.
So starting from the top down to the bottom here, starting with hi-hats. I use the 15-inch bright dark hi-hats. So 15-inch bright cymbal on top, dark cymbal on the bottom. Gives some good difference in sound from when it's open to when it's closed. Next one is this top crash here. As a 19 BRT crash. This one's actually just cracked the other night. So I'm going to be replacing it with a 19 crash. So that's coming in the next couple days. Over here is either, I want to say 21 BRT crash ride. So it's good for both of those. Got a lot of ping on top, and then I also crash on it a good amount there. Over here we got a X Series 19 crash. Super good crash. I'm super into the X Series ones now that I've tried them out. And then over here, just got a 18-inch China. I don't have my main one with me right now. Normally it'd be an 18 BRT or an 18 Lightning China for TRX. So yeah, that's the cymbals. And then going over here to drum heads on top. All right, so drum heads, I've been keeping this same setup for a little bit now. Snare is always P77 coated. It's durable, it pops real loud. So that's a good one for that. Toms, controlled sounds on the tops. I've actually been doing coated. I believe it's a coated ambassador on the bottom. I have a little bit smaller of a floor tom, so that gives it, I tune it pretty low, so I dampen it a pretty good amount. So coated heads on the bottom, I feel is giving me a good sound out of those. But yeah, I really like the controlled sounds. It's got some durability and a good amount of attack to get out of it, so that's the heads. Actually, yeah, sorry, one more here. The kick drum head I have is a Power Stroke P3. It's a coated white. It's the first time I've tried it. I have everything tuned real loose on the kick, just so it's just all punch, all attack. A little bit of dampening in there, dampening pillow that came with the kit. And yeah, that's it for drum heads. All right, so this snare I actually just got recently. It's a SJC 7x14. It's chrome with brass hardware. It's super loud, super poppy, which is what I need. All I'm doing is hitting it hard for secret stuff. So the rest of the kit's a DW, bamboo, and birch shells, the Eco X series. This is a 12, I believe 12 by 10. And then floor tom is 14 by I want to say maybe 12 or 14. It's a pretty small one. So that's why I have it tuned low, so I can just get all the punch out of it. Not too much like high floor tom. It's just all just heavy hitting stuff. So yeah, that's it for dimensions. All right, yeah, and then the kick drum dimension here, 22 by 20. Like I said, it's tuned just slightly above finger tension on both sides. So it just gives me all punch, all attack. So for pedals, I'm using the Thomas Speed Cobra, the 910. It's been my favorite pedal ever since I switched to it. I have the tension like just below like the max, I would say. It's pretty high tension. Yeah, I've been loving these pedals a lot, super fast. So sticks, I have been using the Vader Fatback 3A for a lot of years now. I feel like it has just the right weight. I do a lot of throwing it all over the place. So I think it's a perfect stick for that. It's just thick enough to be durable enough to endure the rim shots too, so they're not breaking all the time on me, so I think this is the perfect stick.
Okay, so outside of Secrets, outside of this run, when you're not on tour, what kind of stuff do you have going on at home? Like, do you play a lot of video games? Like, what do you have going on?
Yeah, I'll play. I just got a Nintendo Switch, which is
right on.
Easily the best system to bring on tour, just because of the portability and hooking it up to TVs and stuff, so that's super fun. I'll do that at home, and then a lot of the time I have a little practice space that I rent out now, so I'm practicing in there as much as I can, like almost every day. Also I'll play for like church gigs once in a while. I just started through the church band. I met someone and started doing some country shows as well.
Nice.
So country it's a super good change of pace for playing metal and stuff like that on the road, and then playing some country shows, some church shows.
Pays a lot too, I imagine.
Country is super good for that. It's like the gigging musician type of thing where you'll show up to a show, no rehearsal. Everyone knows the set, you play it, and then you get paid and you leave. So it's a super cool experience to play, because I just played the first country show like a few months back. So after this tour as well, I'll be playing a few more of those. Just kind of local around the area, like at most a 1 or 2 hour drive to these shows, and we'll just play mostly covers, and then it's like a 2 hour set, and yeah, it's super well paying, super fun stuff to play.
Do you bring out like the same gear kind of thing, or is it like house sets?
Yeah, same gear for the most part. Some places will have like house kits, but for the most part what I've done so far is just the same kit that I use. I'll maybe just tune things a little bit differently, obviously, because right now I have it tuned just all punch and attack and stuff, so country is a little bit different.
Outside of Secrets, like what do you have coming up in the future for yourself outside of the country stuff too? Like, do you I know you have the YouTube channel. Are you still uploading to that?
Yeah, I don't think I've uploaded in a good minute, besides some drum cam stuff of I think when we were in Australia. I'm always trying to get more like content stuff for the YouTube channel. I'm gonna be posting maybe some stuff from the practice space and like some covers and stuff like that from there. I always love doing drum covers. I'm always playing songs on my own time, so I'm always trying to do that. I'm gonna get one of those Yamaha EAD 10s and get some good covers off of that. So Yeah, always doing the YouTube stuff, always trying to play like more shows, whether it be like small tours between secret stuff and all that. So yeah, always just looking to play more basically.
So man, just in closing out, is there anything that you can think of that would be like some really fantastic words of wisdom or some lessons that you've learned over the years that you could pass along to an audience looking to get into this, to get into drumming and touring and all that the music industry has to offer sort of thing?
One of the biggest things is just having a lot of videos of yourself, either playing songs or just playing in general. Always like practice a ton, always practice the metronomes, obviously, like good stuff like that. You just want to be as solid as you can be, know as much music, as many different genres as you can, so that way if the gig shows up at your door, you don't have to kind of panic and be like, I've never done this before, but this is like the thing I've always been wanting. So just being like diverse. Another thing, if you're going to be touring, is always keep in mind that a bigger part of touring than playing is being a fun person to be around. Basically, you always want to have a good attitude and stuff, because you may be the best musician ever, but if you're just the worst to be around, it's going to be hard for bands to want to like bring you out. So it's always good to have a positive attitude, be kind of laid back, like just be fun to be around, basically, because that's a bigger part than even playing is a lot of the time.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all those points, especially the last one. That's something that a lot of guys don't think about because you're so concerned with, getting the gear, learning the song. You never think maybe I should work on my attitude a little bit.
Yeah, definitely the attitude thing, because, there's going to be some hard stuff on tour. Like, there's going to be some times where you're like, this is insane. Like, this is the worst thing I've ever experienced. But, like, you just got to keep a good attitude. Like, the best day or the worst day on tour is better than, like, the best day of being home working a job that you don't necessarily like, so...
All right, man. Well, in wrapping up, why don't you just let everybody know where to find you, where to find the band, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, perfect. On Instagram, you can find me, Connor Allen Drums. YouTube, you can look up same thing, Connor Allen Drums. I got some covers on there, hopefully new covers soon. Instagram, Secrets Official is the Secrets Instagram page. You can check that out, the newest music video and all that stuff. I also have a clothing brand started recently called Passion Prescription. That's just my clothing brand, yeah. So you can check that out as well.
Right on, man. Hell yeah. Cool. Okay, so definitely check out his YouTube, because after this interview is concluded, we'll be taping some drum cam footage that will be played next. So keep watching this episode. You're going to get to see him play, and also the some of the footage from this set you'll also be able to check out on his YouTube page. So thank you so much for checking out this episode of Line Check, and I'll see you guys soon with something new.
Keep talking, man. It just gives me less shit to say. You go ahead, bro. Yo, thank you guys for being here so fucking much. We appreciate it. Sticking around this fucking late. Been here 100,000 times, and you guys keep showing up. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. You know that awkward moment when something happens that's wrong during the first fucking song of your set, and you gotta just keep fucking talking? That's this awkward moment. This is artist version.
So there you have it. That's been Line Check episode 8. I really hope you enjoyed that episode. Again, I want to leave a huge thank you to Toby for helping me make this possible. You can find his links in the description below, as I mentioned in the intro of this video. I also want to encourage you all to check out the rest of Secret's set. You saw the intro and first song in the set. As the last bit of this episode, you got to see Connor actually perform that song. And then all of the rest of the songs, there's 8 more songs in the set. You can check out all those on Connor's YouTube channel. I filmed them and edited them and then uploaded them for him, kind of thing. So it's the exact same thing you just saw, just a continuation of that. And yeah, so his YouTube channel is in the description below. I'll also probably include it in the pinned comment, and you can watch the rest of the set there. So yeah, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you'd like to support the channel, you can find my Patreon link and my merch link in the description below. And I will see you all very soon with something new.